And
Welcome
school
back,
is
guys.
back in session, people. We are running through the Dirty Boys from the Midlands. Big fans of the show. Mason, G-Walk, the lads, Aston Villa, the Villians. Hopefully we can get a little bell ring. And now we're back in session. I'll kick us off, mate, if that's okay.
Please do.
As they say with a football game, tale of two halves, and that certainly was Villa's season this year. Steven Gerrard losing out on his number two, who eventually went over to QPR, did a great job, and then moved back to Rangers. So the style of football I'm giving them is a B. The new signings, I've actually given them a D. If I look at Olsen, reserve keeper, is garbage. Coutinho was formally signed. He's been an absolute dud. Dendoncker is really a squad player and a decent one at that. And the big signing of the season, Carlos has been injured all season.
He got injured first game of the season.
Yeah, so you can't really sort of comment on him. So if we're talking about the guys that actually got on the pitch, really Dendoncker was probably the best one of the lot. So, actually, Moreno was signed under Emery halfway through the season. He's been the best signing, and he was signed halfway through the season. So, giving them a D, considering that's six, I've got sort of six players. Obviously, maybe a little bit harsh given Carlos is injured at the start of the season.
Yeah.
But if he comes back and has had the potential that he did at Sevilla, it'll obviously set them up well. Progression, I've given them a B, all based on the second half. You've got to look at the season as a whole. In a way, having that poor start of the season is probably a blessing in disguise, because I don't think Gerrard ultimately was ever up for it. When you consider him versus someone like Emery, who for me is actually the whole good evening and how things worked out at Arsenal. It wasn't poor at Arsenal, but it just between media and otherwise, you can often just get criticised and people can turn on you.
The fact he didn't speak English at Arsenal was a problem. The fact he was following Arsene Wenger straight after, there's always that poison chalice element to it as well. I think if he'd been given time, he would have been a good fit for Arsenal. I also think Arsenal were skint at the time and they used it as an excuse not to spend any money. So I think he was thrown under the bus a lot with Arsenal as well, and he still did okay. But
he wasn't a disaster, and so when you look at what he did at Sevilla, he's managed PSG.
He looks
and
fantastic.
He's done great at Villarreal.
Done really well to get someone of that quality and experience.
Yeah,
so
100%. Best win of the season, I dare say, was against the mighty Man United, 3-1 win. That was just when Emery took over, so it was a bit of a sign of the turnaround that they had for that second half of the season. Worst result was a 2-0 loss at home to Chelsea. If you're losing to Chelsea at home this season, you've had a fucking shocker, because they were shite. And so that ultimately spelled the end of Steven Gerrard. So 2-0 loss against Chelsea at home. 0 trophies. Overall, I'm giving them a C+. Again, probably a little bit harsh, but overall I think they probably finished where they should have, given the team and the squad. But having such a poor start and then making up all that headway, C+, maybe a B- is what I'm giving them.
You're definitely harsh. I think Aston Villa, for signings, I'll give them a C, right? And the reason it's not a D, it's a C, is because they get their business done early. So they continue signed full, properly Aston Villa player, converted the loan. They Digny in, they got Carlos, they got the boy Kamara. They got them all early, like early July, so they could get a full pre-season. They weren't pissing around in late August waiting for Jim White and his yellow tie to say the deal's done. So I give them a bit of credit for that. Carlos looks a player, but then obviously you get a season-ending injury against Everton's first day of the season.
You wonder how he's going to come back.
Yeah, so that's unlucky. That was the big signing. Coutinho was rubbish. That you can't argue that. He's been terrible. But again, like at Christmas, Moreno's looked first team and quality. So I'd say a C for signings, but I'd give them an A for where they finished this year, because I had them down, honestly, 15th, maybe 14th at best.
Really?
Really didn't fancy them. I thought they'll struggle. I had West Ham much higher above them. I had Wolves above them. So for me, they were in the Champions League run.
See, for me, you thought off the back of Coutinho's loan spell, you thought Coutinho, Buendia, Watkins up front. Yeah. Decent midfield in Carlos. Is it Carlos, the other lad who's sort of more holding midfielder? Mings and then the new signing Carlos would have been really strong. They got Martinez, World Cup winning goalkeeper Digne.
Yeah. It's okay, but I think it's definitely overperformed under Emery. It definitely underperformed under Gerrard, but I still think it's an A. I mean, they come seventh, they get into Europe. That's fantastic for Aston Villa this season, well, considering they sacked the manager halfway through the season. And like I said, in April, they were, apart from maybe City, they were the most informed team. And
if we judge them from the second half of the season, then they're sort of an A plus.
I think you've got to give them an A, but and again they've got into Europe. So their result of the season for me was beating Brighton the last day of the season to guarantee seventh. They beat Spurs 2 weeks before that, which I think was a huge one for staying above Spurs as well. Either the Spurs 2-1 or the Brighton 2-1 to get into Europe is probably their best result. I mean, losing to Chelsea just because Chelsea are rotten this season, but
yeah,
they
and
had
at home.
But they had a few shocking results at the start of the season, which led to Gerrard leaving, and getting sacked. So any one of them, the Wolves result was a bit of a shocker as well when they were on good form near the end of the season and they lost to Wolves. That was a bit of a kick in as far as momentum was concerned. Wolves were kind of turning the corner, but I still think they should have won that.
Midlands derby, yeah.
Yeah, but overall, like I said, I'm giving them an A. I think getting into Europe, Emery's first half season, not even full season, he'll bring in some players that he knows and can trust. So look out for maybe someone like Lo Celso from Villarreal. Obviously, Spurs try to get rid of him. That could be a cheeky one. If they can get him cheap.
So what do you think, mate, in terms of reinforcements then? So you saying obviously a midfielder?
Personally, I think I would cash in on your World Cup winning goalie and get 50 or 60 million for him and get a different goalie, but and take the money while he's still hot. But if they don't, then they've got a goalie. Moreno looks like a good fullback, and they've got cash as a reserve for him. On the other side, they've got.
I think Moreno's on the left side, so Digne's.
Sorry, Moreno's on the left. He's been keeping Digne out. They need a right back because they were playing Ashley Young over Cash. So Cash is probably a good reserve, so they need to replace Ashley Young as a starting right back. I've never really liked Mings and Konsa, but the Villa fans do. So if they're happy with him, and then you've got Carlos to come back, they're probably okay there. They've just signed Tillmans, who I think is an amazing signing. He obviously, on his day, Arsenal were interested in him. Man, you were interested in him, so it's a good player if they can get him motivated again. Kind of lost his way in that.
Down tools last season,
well,
did
I
it?
think the whole Leicester team, apart from maybe Maddison, all down tools this year. So I wouldn't blame him completely. But I think, again, doing their business early, getting him in, I think that's a quality upgrade. Yeah, that's all they'd be looking to do now, is if you can bring in a better player than the player that's already playing. There's no real gaps apart from right back at the moment that I think they desperately need. But again, John McGinn-Iniesta for Scotland, is he going to get you into the top four? I'm not sure. So maybe someone stronger.
Yeah, so I've certainly got right back. Are they going to... They still probably need to officially replace Jack Grealish. I would say they need a winger, because they've got Coutinho and Buendia that mainly play that sort of playmaking role more from central positions. So if they got someone out on the wing just to provide a bit of width and a bit of speed, and then a backup goalie, a backup striker. Yeah, if Watkins is injured. Because again, if you play midweek,
the boy Archer, who they put out on loan, he's in England. It
looks tasty. He'll probably fit that bill. To be fair, yeah.
And they've got the Ramsey brothers as well. There's some good youth coming through there as well. I think that they're okay. Like I said, it's only if they're willing to spend the 50 million and bring in a better player for any position. Well,
we're told by big fans of the show, Mason and G-Walk, that they're the fourth or fifth richest club in England. So apparently they've got deep pockets. They've sold Grealish for 100 mil, so they should have some spare change to spend. So it should be interesting to see. I'd say probably 3 or 4 signings, and then that should cover the extra games in Europe.
Yeah, well again, West Ham's just won the conference, right? And now they're in the Europa League.
So they should definitely be aiming for it.
Well, they've got to be aiming for it, right? They've got a good enough squad. I mean, West Ham's got probably some, like I would say, Bowen and Rice are better than anyone in the Aston Villa squad at the moment. But apart from that, Aston Villa squad's probably better than West Ham's overall. So they should definitely be thinking that for the fans as well. The fans are used to, long time ago, winning European trophies, right? The fans will enjoy their away days again. And West Ham came 14th or 15th, and they're in the Europa League next year. That's better than coming fifth, in my opinion. Winning that conference trophy is better than what Liverpool did, and they came fifth. So if I was,
it's good to see teams take it seriously. I mean, for me,
it's a great element. It's a great element to those trophies is that you get into the higher up one by winning it. And like I said, if Aston Villa win that Conference League, which is definitely within their realms as the top English team in it, they win that, it's better than coming with like 6th, 7th, 5th, 6th, 7th. So if I was them, I'd be looking to concentrate on that. And obviously, you don't want to get relegated, but and you don't want to just stay up. But like I said, if they come 11th or 12th and win the conference final, I think they'll be over the moon with that.
Great. That's it for the Villains.
Cool. Peace.